My name's Miller. I work for Coldplay over here at stage left, and I run all of the keyboards, and I also run some drum samples, and I run some playback for orchestral parts, and a lot of Brian Eno's synth textures and stuff like that is all on a playback system, so that while the band are playing live, some of the bits that other people played for them in the studio are also available in the mix. I started with Coldplay in 2002, and I was actually working for a sound company plugging microphones and speakers in. I was only supposed to be here for 3 weeks. It's now 2011, and I'm still here. So they had somebody, a guy called Rick Simpson actually, who is now their co-producer. Rick Simpson was taking care of this end of things at the time, but he got an offer to go and produce a record for somebody else, which he went and did, and they needed someone to look after this, and I was here. In our keyboard rack we have two RME Fireface 800s, which we're using with our Muse receptors. We've got Muse receptors which we're using to run samplers and soft synths for keyboard sounds on stage, and they've been great. The only thing we found is a bit of a limitation with them is that they've only got one stereo output, so we're using the Fireface 800 in standalone mode to take an 8-out optical cable and split it into a bunch of individual outs, which we can send to the sound guys to have separate control over separate keyboard sounds. Doubtless when the tour's finished they'll come out and they'll become useful in the studio. In the playback rack we have the UFX, which is doing all manner of input and output for us, and primarily I have tracks sent to me as Pro Tools sessions, which I have in a laptop, but rather than run a laptop or a Pro Tools HD system live, I transfer the tracks that we do need into a hard disk playback system, which is very fast and very reliable, or has been so far. And the UFX, again, we're using the 8-out optical, so I come out of Pro Tools from the laptop, 2 8-out optical lines into the Fostex, so I get 16 tracks of digital. Then I've got some other analog lines which send time code into the Fostex, which runs synced video with the video department. During the show I'm not playing anything back off the laptop, so the laptop goes into recording mode, and I take 2 inputs from the sound guy at front of house, what he's sending to the PA, and I take a couple of ambient mics which are up in the truss for the audience, and they go into the UFX and they're recorded into Pro Tools. I've also got the USB socket on the front, so as we're recording I can record down to a little thumb drive and take the gig away with me on a little USB stick. It's been great. It's actually not the first interface we've used for the job. We've sort of had some other stuff which was had similar features, but a lot less in the way of reliability, and we had a lot of clocking issues, and I had to, if I was going down to the Fostex, I had to run the word clock one way, and if I was coming back off the Fostex I had to do it a different way, and if I switched things on in the wrong order it wouldn't catch the clock signal, so I'd have to reboot things, and that it was a great unit by another manufacturer that was a little bit cheaper, but it kind of resulted in a lot of faffing about, and I literally got the UFX, got it out of the box, put it in the rack, and it has just sat there and chucked digital audio in and out all day without any faff really. The other thing it does as well that I didn't mention was obviously in the mix software that's on the laptop, everything that's coming off the hard drive I can mix together, and that gets sent to a pair of monitors. So if we're editing in the afternoon and the bands are standing with me, I can play them what they want. I've also got a headphone mix which can be a separate mix with different things in, so it's just massive amounts of flexibility really, and whenever I need more in and out, there's always a way of doing it really. Yeah, well, the Babyface has already, Dan at front of house has got one. Rick, who's co-producing with Dan and Brian and Marcus, they've picked some up. Neil, who looks after this rig and built a lot of it, he's getting hold of one, and they're absolutely ideal for travelling. And again, in a similar way to the UFX, they've so many ins and outs and so many options, particularly when you can take something that small on tour with you. It's absolutely ideal, and the quality of the audio and the quality of the drivers, it's ideal really. It's great.